Welcome to the video games pickup video for February 2024. And if you saw that thumbnail, well, the best way to describe the month of February is by channeling my inner Britney Spears a little bit and saying, oops, I did it again. Because the month of February, I picked up 11 different games, some of which are for one of my favorite old school consoles of all time. So with that being said, there's a plethora of stuff to get through here, different genres, some games I had never even heard of. And I still don't really even know much about, but I'm looking forward to playing them in the long run. Let's start off in the beginning of February, because in the beginning of February, Rocksteady released Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. Now, I haven't played this yet. I did get it on day one, and I've heard mixed reviews about the game, which really hurts my heart, because Rocksteady is, the original creators of the Arkham series, critically acclaimed Batman games. And to know Suicide Squad, a game that I had been looking forward to, gets mixed reviews, makes me really hope that when I play it, because I love the Batman universe, I hope when I play it, I enjoy this game. And hopefully they fix whatever people were complaining about. The next game I want to talk about is a Switch game. A game that I was really hoping was going to go on sale on Black Friday, and it never did. And just randomly this month, it went on sale, so I'm happy to have picked it up, and that's Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Now, this game came out, almost 2 years ago now, I think. And on Black Friday, Kirby's Return to Dreamland was on sale, when it really, I think, should have been the Forgotten Land. Randomly this month, this went down to $39 on Amazon, so I had to get it because I had been waiting for this to go on sale. And with that being said, some other games I picked up this month are tying into a little bit of things we could talk about later. Now, back in December, I placed an order on PlayAsia, thinking that my order would, come in 2 to 3 weeks. Unfortunately, I always forgot how PlayAsia sometimes takes months to ship stuff to you. Now, 2 of the 3 games I got here were in stock the whole time, and it was one game, and it's going to be the first one I mention, which I'm happy it came in February, because it kind of goes into another game I got this month. Kept going out of stock. I didn't realize how popular this game was. It's a game for the Switch, and that is the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. Now, these are the first 6 Final Fantasy games that I don't really know what Pixel Remaster means, but apparently they just look nicer. They're like the definitive ways to play the games. It does say updated 2D pixel graphics, beautifully rearranged soundtrack, bestiary, galleries, and music player, improved gameplay, UI, and more. Now, 6 Final Fantasy games. It was about $80 to pick this up from PlayAsia, but you're getting a ton of gameplay for this. And I wanted to play certain Final Fantasy games that are included in this that I've never played because the original versions didn't come to the West. With that being said, another game that didn't come to the West in a physical release that came out recently, I think back in December, that I needed to get was Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Lost His Name. Or The Man Who Erased His Name. Sorry, let me correct myself. Now, this is funny because this is I guess you could say the multinational release, if we want to say, or international release. And it does on the side even say English version. What I love about getting these versions of games that didn't get physical releases stateside, because I did the same thing with Klonoa and Secret of Mana, or Legend of Mana, for the PlayStation 4, is that they have different shrink wrap. And I know it's a little bit of a different thing to brag about, but if you look, it actually has PlayStation written on the shrink wrap. And for some reason, I just think that's super cool that, other countries have that where we don't have that here in the States. And the other thing that's always weird that I could have mentioned about the Final Fantasy thing is because these are international versions, there's no ESRB little, sticker here, or, tag, whatever you want to call it, which makes it different for the artwork, because in a way I kind of feel like it makes the artwork look a little cleaner. And with this being said, this game did get released digitally in the West, but I wanted a physical version. I love having the Like a Dragon games, formerly the Yakuza series, and this game goes back to playing as Kiryu Kazuma, who is one of my favorite protagonists in a game series. Another game that didn't get released in the West that I wanted to get because I bought the game that came before this a couple years ago from PlayAsia on the Switch, and that's Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. The one I got previously was Fatal Frame Maiden of the Black Water. I liked Maiden of the Black Water, so I think Mask of the Lunar Eclipse is going to be fun to play. But this is probably going to get held off until I do my Halloween games. So, you know, another 7 months away. But hopefully this does get played this year. You know, it's a first world problem where you're saying hopefully this does get played this year. You know, I'm lucky to even have the ability to buy these games. Now, I want to go into the retro games I picked up this month because when it came to retro games, I mentioned that a lot of them came from a retro console that I hold very dearly to my heart. And that's the Sega Dreamcast. And with that being said, I want to start off with another game that's probably going to get played around Halloween time. And that's Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare. I have never played this game. I've heard of this game, but I don't know if I've ever actually played an Alone in the Dark game. I know they started originally, if I'm not mistaken, back in like the early 1990s as a PC game. So it's cool to actually finally have one of these in my collection, especially because aren't they redoing Alone in the Dark that's getting released soon, or if it's not released already? I think I heard rumblings about that. Now, I mentioned a game earlier that I had never heard of, that I just picked up because I got it for a decent price, and I've read reviews, and apparently it's not super exciting or super good, and apparently it's based on a novel, and that game is Chronicles of Perdition, Dragon Riders, or Dragon Riders Chronicles of Perdition, according to the spine. I don't know anything about this game, but I'm always looking forward to adding just random games to my Dreamcast collection, because the Dreamcast, for the 2 years, if give or take, you know, that it was out, came out with some bangers. And another game that I had always wanted to get for the Dreamcast is Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Now, I think I've played this when I was a kid. I never owned it, but I feel like I have played this somewhere. It might have been at a friend's house or something like that, but it's super cool to actually have this in such decent condition, like in the collection. Now, the next game I'm so happy to actually have in the collection for the Dreamcast, because I played this with friends as a kid, and they would always bring it over, and I never had my own. And then the price of this game rose substantially throughout the years, and I did pay a decent premium for this. But to finally cross this off and have it in the collection, and it's the definitive way for what I know to play this game, I'm happy for what I paid for it. And that's Marvel vs. Capcom 2. This game, I have so many good memories with when I was like 12 years old when I first got my Dreamcast. And I just always remember the light blue disc. So when I opened this up and saw that it was that light blue disc, it brought back so many memories, and to finally have this in the collection, I'm definitely going to play through this a few more times, because when I first got my Dreamcast, there were 3 games I played. It was Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that I borrowed from a friend, Jet Grind Radio, and Sonic Adventure. I had Shenmue, but I got stuck in the game super early on. I didn't go back to it 2 years later, so I don't want to add that to the list, but those were the 3 games that I played that made me hooked on the Dreamcast, among other things. But let's go into 2 of the more epic releases I got this month. Let's go into the first one. This is going to be the game a lot of people picked up this month, I believe. And that's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I picked up the deluxe edition for this, you know, because for the initial remake on the PS4 for Final Fantasy VII, basically part 1, I got the deluxe edition as well. So I wanted to kind of continue the trend. It's funny because I didn't play that game until like a year and a half ago, and I've had it since 2020. So it's nice to, you know, get Rebirth on time. I don't know when I'm going to get around to playing this, because I know everyone is playing this right now as well. So part of me feels like I should put down whatever I'm currently playing and put this in and get into the story. I played the original Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1. I'm so happy that they're doing the 7 remake because it's arguably one of the most epic games in the Final Fantasy timeline. And the fact that they're doing it in different parts and changing certain things and adding certain things to the story, it's so cool, right? But there's a game, for me, that's bigger that came out this month. And that is Persona 3 Reload. Now, you know I love the Megami Tensei series, and I loved Persona 3 Fez Edition when I played it on the PlayStation 2 back in 2019. See, I didn't get into Persona until, you know, it became popular to get into Persona, if we want to say that. I first played Persona 5, and that was what drew me into the series. Persona 3 was the second Persona series game that I played, and I bought it on the PlayStation 2. So, as much as I thought it was going to feel very primitive coming from 5 to go back to a game that came out, 12, 13 years earlier, I fell in love with Persona 3. I love the character, I love the story, and with that being said, you know, I keep buying, as you can see, the collector's editions of different Persona games. You know, I got the 5 Royal case over there for the PlayStation 5. I do have the PlayStation 4 version of 5 Royal. Q2's collector's edition. So it was only right, I felt like, to give Persona 3 that same respect with the remake and get the collector's edition directly from Atlus, because I had wanted this game to be remade for so long. The biggest gripe I had with Persona 3 was the battle system, because you couldn't control all the characters. And it was fine in that sense, but coming from 5, being used to that, and then not being able to do that in 3, I mean, it was a small little gripe, right? Because the story is what kept me there the whole time. And this comes with an art book, the Aegis figure, the soundtrack, and a DLC pack downloadable voucher. I know they've been, like, adding little things to this game, but I am so excited to eventually play this one day. And I say one day because right now I finally started playing Immortals Phoenix Rising, and I don't know how I feel about that game. That game might get put to the side. If you guys have played it, what are your tips to be more involved with that game, right? But, yeah, I am so happy that they revisited Persona 3. The story of this game, kind of the silent protagonist too, it's just so fun. The game itself is also kind of dark. I'm all for it, guys. So, it's also funny that I realized that in the same month, Persona 3 Reload came out, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, and I'm pretty sure back in 2020, Persona 5 Royal also came out the same month as Final Fantasy VII Remake. So they're kind of coinciding with each other in the RPG game. But yeah, those are the games I picked up this month for the month of February. What do you think about what I've got? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next month, because I will be doing a games pickup video next month, because I know one game is definitely coming, and I do have 3 more that I bought from PlayAsia, so if they show up, they show up. But, yeah, guys. It's a rainy day here in Jersey. It's going to be a gaming day for me. I did start streaming again, so check out the twitch.tv/DoubleG392 channel. And until next time, be happy, be healthy, stay safe, game on. I will catch you later.